So you just hit level 60, ready to get into the raiding scene. I got 10 add-ons that I highly recommend that you download to make your raiding experience so much smoother. Now, if you're a veteran here, you probably already have most of these. Let me know below if any of these are new for you. But my newcomers, these add-ons are going to help you drastically with raiding, just to keep you out of getting damaged, whether it's healing damage. There's so much. All right, let me break it down. Number one, details. Details is a great add-on to be able to track the type of damage you're doing. So as you see, you could hover over someone and see what items or abilities they were using during that fight. Maybe you're missing out on something and that's what they're using to be able to get ahead. And you can see which ones they're actually using more. Obviously mages, looks like Frostbolt. But it shows you your DPS, damage per second, and your overall damage that you did. So it's a nice way to keep things tracked. I like to maybe shrink it down to the top 5, make it nice and small, throw it in the bottom corner. Kind of give me a gut check on how well I did during that last raid encounter. And if anybody is the same class as me, kind of hover over them and see what did they do different, and maybe how did I get a little bit better next time. Number 2, Deadly Boss Mods. Deadly Boss Mods has amazing ability to tell you every kind of raid mechanic that's going to happen during all of Classic. So all of the different raids are already implemented into here, and it's going to, there's so much. There's really so much. It shows you dungeons, it shows you world bosses. Anytime you do these big activities, whether they're going to mind control or a reflector or something, the Deadly Boss Mod ad is going to pop up a big raid warning right on your screen and telling you like, hey, stop casting or whatever, XYZ. So I highly recommend you have to have Deadly Boss Mods if you plan on raiding. It just makes everything so much smoother. Number 3, Gargul. So hopefully I'm saying it right. But this add-on is amazing for any raid that is doing soft reserves, which most of your guilds are going to do a soft reserve where you go on a third-party website, you basically say, hey, these are the type of items that I want. And at the beginning of the raid, they use this add-on and you have to have it as well. And it imports it all in. From there, when the items drop, it shows it so nice below down in the raid chats and then pops up a little box along the way. You don't even actually have to set anything in here. This is more for the raid leader itself. But having this, it'll pop up a big, like just like you were rolling for an item, and it will tell you main spec, off spec, and it tracks everything through the add-on. So I highly recommend it. It's really smooth and helps all the other raid leaders, especially with you having it. I don't think it's a must that you have to have it, but it's a nice thing to be able to have and understand how everything is happening. You could look through the loot history and look at everybody else's soft reserves. I love it because with having it, and I go into my Atlas loot, I can go over Molten Core and say I want to roll on, like I plan on getting these boots. I could see down below if someone else already has their name attached to the soft reserve. So then I can really kind of, I mean, maybe it's just me. I like the little, what type of items can I possibly get? Oh, that one's already soft reserved by someone. Like I might know that I soft reserve the band, but what about the other people? Where's the other items I might be able to get? So it helps me with kind of planning and kind of see the little excitement is, am I going to get something off this boss or is it already soft reserved? Number 4, GTFO. Get the out. You know what I'm talking about. It's a simple add-on, a combination with the DBM add-on I spoke earlier. It's all about literally if you're dying, it tells you to get out. So if there's fire on the ground, which is the hardest raid mechanic in Classic, it will pop up red flash your screen saying move. So it's a nice little thing if you're not paying attention or, you're focused on the boss and you're not looking at your feet, whatever. You don't want to die to fire. It's kind of embarrassing. So just get that add-on. It'll save your life. Time to pay the bills. So if you are not using Rested XP while leveling, you are nuts. For $10 to $30, it saves hundreds of hours over the course of your WoW Classic career. Highly recommend it. I've used it every single time, and they make it so easy with the add-on. So highly recommend that. And as far as gold making, check out Solihim. So Lahim has made a fabulous 157 page document with every gold making method possible. Check down below for code DAVE for 50% off. Do not miss out. Make tons of gold level fast. Let's get back to the video. Number 5, Nova World buffs. Nova World buffs is how you're able to see on the different layers when a certain buff can possibly drop. So it's all, you definitely want to be able to get all of the raid buffs prior to going into the raids using your Corona Boon Displacer to be able to save those buffs. But how do you know when you can drop? Say maybe you got the Oni head. Great. You want to get the amulet. Well, you don't even know when you can actually drop it. Not everybody, you can't just drop. There's different timers. So like if I had the Oni head right now, I know I could swap the layer 3, turn in the head to finish the quest. But without this add-on, you wouldn't know which one which layer you could possibly do it in. It also helps me map out that I know, like, I want to be in Orgrimmar right now because someone could drop the Oni head. Boom, I'll capture that one. Well, another run can't drop for another hour 50. So as you know, at 6:37, I want to get back to Orgrimmar to be able to get the Ren buff. So it lets you really map out when you can get the different buffs. And if you didn't know, just because a buff is dropping on layer 1 and you're on layer 3, you still get the buff. It gives the buff to everybody on all the layers, but you can't turn in the quest item to be able to trigger the animation where the buff actually happens. Without knowing, and having that add-on, it's tough to really, kind of guesstimate. Number 6, Threat Classic 2. So there's a couple different threat meters out there. I like this one overall, and as I select it shows what the threat is. Right now I'm not fighting anything, but if I was in a raid encounterment, I would see that hopefully my tank is up top, hopefully, and then I would be somewhere down below and it would show the percentage. And you can set the different thresholds on when it will start to alert you. You can make it where it starts to flash your screen or give you kind of a warning if you start creeping up closer to the threat. There's also little combinations that you can make. Like I use a different add-on for my bars in general, like my action bars. So then it will show a percentage of threat right on the bar, as well as having this. So I like to, when I'm in a raid encounterment, I'll literally put the threat right here, because I do not want to rip threat and then somehow wipe the raid. It's the last thing you want to do, especially if you don't have this and you just would look silly. So if you're getting into raiding, make sure you get the Threat Classic 2, which is a nice meter to be able to track threat. Like I said, the tank will show he's 100%. You'll be down here at like 60, 70, 50%, whatever. But as you get closer to his threat, you need to slow down on your damage to let him maintain the tanking portion of everything. Number 7, Weakauras. So Weakauras is an amazing add-on. There's a lot to go into. I can make a whole video on just Weakauras. Basically what you end up doing is you go to wago.go, or maybe co, I'll put it down below, and people create like these little third-party, like little mini add-ons built in. I don't even know how to fully explain it, but like I have this one that I downloaded for the healer's mana. So I can change, as you see, I can change where I want this to be on my screen. And basically, like this healer mana watch. So see, oh, there it is, wago.io. Now the one thing you gotta be careful with is make sure it's a reputable person who you're downloading it from. They have lots of reviews, lots of downloads, because they could potentially put a malicious code in there, since you're basically importing a long code into whatever it is. So like you input it and it's a long string of code. I don't know 100%. I'm not no coder as far as that goes. I just only download a couple that I know that I can really trust. But the Healer Mana Watcher, I do it because a lot of times I'm pulling in raids. So I want to keep the constant flow of monsters coming to keep the raid pace going. But this Healer Mana Watcher, I can see all of my healers in a line and how much mana they have left. It only pulls my healers. It doesn't pull mages or whatever. And it lets me see if I see all my healers are at 20%. Okay, give them a minute before I pull the next group. There's little things like that. I use this one a lot, which is a layer swap. And I can basically right click on here and easily swap between different layers. So there's a bunch of different things. My pet happiness, I like to have that. So there's all sorts of different little things that you can turn them on and off depending on what you want to do. But there's so many on the website. Like I said, just be careful which ones you're downloading. But you could easily type in Hunter and look at all the different Hunter ones, or Raid and look at all the different Raid ones on their website. Number 8, Healbot. So I obviously not on a healer, but I'm going to pop up a screen so I can actually show you exactly what Healbot is. So if you, I don't care if you're doing dungeons, raids, whatever you're doing, if you were a healer, Healbot makes your life so much easier. Instead of having to click on each person's personal little raid frame over in the party section, you have a nice layout where you can set up your right click, your left click, your mouse click, shift click. You can do all kind of little setups where you can go from, in one little hovering over someone's name, you could do, a renew or a greater heal or a flash heal. You could do it all so fast, a power word shield on them. You could do it so much faster than you could ever do without the add-on. And it's nice to be able to see everybody. Then you can also prioritize, okay, I want to put all my tanks at the very top, so I want to prioritize them. It just makes healing 100 times easier. If you're healing, please just download Healbot. You'll thank me later. Number 9, Decurssive. So once again, I'm not on a character that can actually do it, so I'm going to pop up a little screen so you can see what it is. But I look at it as like a whack-a-mole. So during the raid encounters, counterments, when someone gets a curse on them, it will literally light up the button as red, and you just click on it and it automatically decurses them. You don't have to search through 40 different names on the raid to try to find out who is actually cursed, who isn't. It makes it so simple. You literally just keep clicking on all the dots and you just get rid of all the curses. Makes it so much simpler. I promise it will save you so many headaches when it comes to the Molten Core. You'll look like a rock star because you'll have, a lot of people will track who's doing all the decursing. So if you want to, top the boards on that, make sure you have it. Number 10, the final one, ItemRack. Now this one isn't specific to just raids, but it does help because what you can do is you can set up all sorts of different sets and save it. So like I have one for PvP, raiding, farming. So maybe you're a tank and you want to be able to easily switch between a full tank setup with all of your gear versus a DPS setup. Instead of having to search through your bags and find each different piece, you can key bind it and put it to like something on the keypad is what I ended up doing too. So I can literally swap 10 pieces of gear with one click. I don't have to search through the bags. I just set it up ahead of time. Now I'm still learning a little bit with it, but you can even set up a queue system. So essentially, maybe if I use this item, then it will swap to a different item. So that would be great for like a pre-pull. Say you want to pop a trinket that gives you a ton of attack damage, and then you want to use your other one because you can't swap trinkets once you're in combat. So I might hit it and set up the queue where it's going to use the trinket, switch to the other trinket, boom. It makes it so effortless. I have not played around enough to really master it. So let me know down below if you have any tips on that as far as that goes. But I know like there's so much you can do within this add-on. Just using the sets and be able to swap from a DPS to a tank set or a damage set to a healing set in one click, 10 pieces of item, that's a game changer. I love it. I swap all the time between different things while I'm out in the open world. But hopefully all these 10 add-ons, hopefully one of these maybe was something new to you. If you're new to raiding in general, I'm sure a lot of these are brand new. And then I'm sorry I didn't even mention, I download all of my add-ons through Cursed Forge, which is a handy little third-party website essentially that makes it so easy to download all the different add-ons. And literally I check it once a week and I can one-click update on any of them that that need to be updated. And then there's a browse function so you can look at all the other popular add-ons out there and see if it's something that benefits you. Love to hear your feedback. Hopefully this was helpful, and as always, game on.